Hi everyone, Derek here, Automotive Oscilloscope Diagnostics. Now, I'd like to talk about these RoadSafe recovery points. I've bought these for a 150 series Prado 2019 model, cars fitted with an ARB Summit Bull Bar. I've been looking on the internet and the information on there suggests that these will suit a 150 Prado with an ARB Bull Bar. So, look, good value for money, $175 for this whole setup. You get 2 recovery points rated at 3.25 tons each. You get a bridle recovery strap, 2 bow shackles rated at 4.5 tons each. So compared to an ARB recovery point, which is about $300 a side, I reckon it was good value for money, provided these will actually fit, because, you know, like they say, a poor man always buys twice. So I went by what the information suggests, that these will actually fit. Even the RoadSafe recovery website has got the installation instruction with or showing that these will be compatible with a ARB Bull Bar on a 150 Prado. So let's have a look what's inside the kit. Now I've got a bit of a surprise for you, because look, there's no recovery points in there, right? Because they're already installed to my car. Now have a look at this. Left side and right side. Now looks pretty, doesn't it? Looks pretty indeed. So you think to yourself, well, because they're already installed to his car, they must fit, right? Well, stay tuned, because there's a twist to this. So besides the recovery points that aren't in here, you also get 6 of these nuts on the plate, with a bit of wire sticking out, so you can insert this inside the chassis rail and do up your recovery points. You get 6 12.9 high tensile bolts with spring washers and flat washers, right? So everything is in here to bolt up your recovery points. Also, recovery strap comes with the kit. So what do you get in here? Well, you get 2 of these 4.5 ton bow shackles. Right, there you go. Let's have a look inside the box. Pretty in yellow and black, but really well made for the price, $175. And also you get a bridle recovery strap. There you go. So that's all in the kit for you. Now let's have a look at the car and let's have a look at the installation. So the left hand side of the recovery point installed to the car with the ARB Summit Bull Bar, and perhaps other Bull Bars as well, let me know in the comments below. You have these big black brackets that extend from the front of the chassis rail all the way to the back to provide additional support for the Bull Bar assembly. Now on the front of the chassis rail, and let's call that the foot of the chassis rail, there are a number of welds along the side, and that creates a situation where the bracket doesn't sit flush with the chassis rail, right? So because the bracket is only 5mm thick, when you go and bolt up the bracket itself, there is enough flex in the bracket to actually bolt it up, right? No problems. But when you try and install a recovery point, you don't want to install a recovery point at an angle or diagonally to the chassis rail. You want to make sure that it's actually running parallel. So in my situation, I've taken a couple of 3mm washers to take up that gap that exists between the rear part of the chassis rail here and the foot of the chassis rail there, so I can bolt up that recovery point parallel to the chassis rail. So not a big deal. The other thing that you'll have to do is the wing for the Bull Bar needs to be trimmed slightly to allow for the additional thickness of the recovery point. So this side fits perfectly well, no problems at all. It's the right side that we have a bit of an issue with, and let me show you why. Alright, so here we are, the right hand side of the car. Now straight away, right, hopefully you guys can see that, but straight away there's a problem. Now let me show you what the problem is. The problem is this big box here, right, if you like. So that is in actual fact the windscreen washer bottle. Okay, so you don't get that on the left hand side of the car. So the installation of the recovery point, simple, easy, straightforward. Now the recovery point, right, can't be installed on this side, and let me show you why. So if you look at the cutout in the recovery point, okay, that is not something RoadSafe has done. Okay, so that is something I have done to demonstrate to you what ideally has to be done to make this recovery point fit where it's intended to fit. Okay, so needless to say, this recovery point is now cactus. Okay, I've got to remove it off the car, throw it out. It's no longer of any use to anybody. Okay, the structural integrity has been compromised. Okay, the only thing I can really do with this is perhaps hang it up on the wall in the garage. Okay, it's going to be good for that, no problems. But that is no longer any good. So, okay, so what you're looking at there, okay, is a recovery point that is not suitable for any application anymore. Now, because the manufacturer specifies that I need to use this as a pair with a bridle strap, if I'm going to remove this recovery point, I need to remove the other recovery point as well. Okay, they are both rated to 3.25 tons each and can't be used as a single item only. Right, so there you go. Okay, so let me bring up a picture here of my mate's recovery point installed to a Prado150. Okay, have a look at this. It's been on the car for 5 years. It's full of corrosion. The paint's starting to peel off. Now, I dare say it's probably not the fault of the recovery point or the way it's been painted, manufactured. Okay, the problem probably lies with the installation of this recovery point. Now, as I've discussed when demonstrating the installation of the left-hand side, there's a difference, okay, between the foot of the chassis rail down here. Okay, there's a difference in width, and we're only talking like 5 mil. Okay, between the foot of the chassis rail there, okay, down here, and the section of the chassis rail here. So you really need to install spacers between the recovery point and the chassis rail to prevent that recovery point from bending. Okay, you don't want to put additional pressure on that. You don't want to drive it home with that big bolt. Okay, it really needs to be bolted up parallel to the chassis rail. So this is where the washers come in. Now, my friend unfortunately hasn't installed the washers. Okay, so that's why it's corroding and the paint's coming off. So it is what it is. So look, you're probably going to ask the question, why couldn't I just put some additional force, because there is a bit of give in this washer bottle, right? You could force this up, and you could you know, jam the recovery point in there, and Bob's your uncle, right? But the problem with that is that the windscreen washer bottle is bolted to the body of the car, right? Now, the body of the car is bolted to the chassis through rubber mounts, and the body moves independently of the chassis when you're driving on rough roads, corrugations, speed humps, whatever. So if that recovery point is bolted hard up against the washer bottle, well, something's going to give, okay? And it's likely to be the washer bottle that's going to break off at some point. Okay, that body needs to move freely. It's been designed to move freely. That's how the manufacturer intended it. Okay, so let's not go and mess around with that. So, okay, that is the reason I can't do that. I can't install it that way. But I'll just quickly attach a picture of something I found on the internet. I did find a picture of a recovery point installed to a Prado150 that's had an ARB Bull Bar. And have a look at this. Okay, from what I can see, that recovery point is hard up against the washer bottle. Okay, obviously they've also installed washers like I have between the recovery point and the chassis. Okay, to keep that recovery point parallel to the chassis. Okay, so that's obviously something that you need to do on these cars. There's no other way around that. So, look, let me know in the comments below if you have a solution to this problem. I'm sure other viewers would like to know. I personally haven't seen many Prados with RoadSafe recovery points. Okay, it's generally ARB recovery points installed with ARB Bull Bars. I've chosen to go with this because of the cost factor, but like they say, a poor man pays twice, doesn't he? Okay, so they're going to have to come off now, and eventually, in a few weeks, a few months' time, I'm going to have to put some money aside for genuine ARB recovery points. That's how it is. So, look, hopefully this information is beneficial to you in deciding whether these recovery points will suit your application. Let me know in the comments below. Okay, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.